Good day everyone. I am Christopher Jan Navarro from JOLang 3201, and I'll be presenting a summary of recent research on volcanic hazard assessment at Tungurahua Volcano. The study titled Probabilistic Scenario-Based Hazard Assessment for Pyroclastic Density Currents at Tungurahua Volcano, Ecuador was conducted by Aravena and et al. And focuses on evaluating the risk posed by pyroclastic density currents or the PDCs using probabilistic method. For the introduction to volcanic hazards, pyroclastic density currents are among the most destructive volcanic hazards. They are fast-moving, ground-hugging flow of hot gases, ash, and rock that can travel several kilometers from a volcano and obliterate everything in their path. Tungurahua, located in the Ecuadorian Andes, poses a high risk due to its steep topography, explosive history, and proximity to populated areas. Over 25,000 people live in communities exposed to these hazards, including Baños, a popular tourist city just 8 kilometers north of the volcano. So this makes understanding and mapping pyroclastic density current hazards essential for public safety and effective disaster response. For the objective of the study, it aimed to improve hazard assessment by generating probabilistic maps of PDC inundation for three eruption scenarios. A volcanic explosivity index 2, which has a violent strombolian or volcanic eruption. A volcanic explosivity 3 index subplinian eruption similar to that of August 2006, and a VEI 45 large-scale subplinian to plinian event. So the goal was to understand the likelihood of PDCs affecting specific areas depending on the eruption size and to use this information to improve emergency planning. So before we proceed, let's have a short background about Tungurahua volcano. As you can see here in the figure, the Tungurahua is a 5,023-meter stratovolcano located in central Ecuador. It has a long history of both Plinian and Volcanian eruptions, similar to sector collapses and extensive pyroclastic activity. So the 1999 to 2016 eruptive phase was especially well documented and includes multiple VEI 2 to 3 events. This makes it an ideal case study for scenario-based hazard modeling as we have both the modern field data and historical eruption records to work with. So why Tungurahua needs updated hazard mapping? So the last official hazard map for Tungurahua was created in 2008, and since then a significant eruptive phase between 1999 to 2016 produced 6 pyroclastic density current forming eruptions. It includes pyroclastic density current from July 2006, February 2008, May 2010, July 2013, February 2014, and February 2016. So, new numerical models and high-resolution topographical data, such as the 16-meter DEM, allow more precise and hazard assessment. So, let's start with the pyroclastic deposits at Tungurahua volcano as you can see here in the map. It depicts the spatial extent of pyroclastic density current from specific eruptions of Tungurahua volcano. It includes the eruption in July 2006, February 2008, May 2010, July 2013, February 2014, and February 2016. So the green shaded areas, as you can see here in the map, it represents the observed footprints or inundation zones of pyroclastic density currents flowing eruption in the specific dates. The dotted lines, as you can see here, it indicates the inferred central flow path or axis of the pyroclastic density currents. So this map serves as a model used in hazard assessment when calibrated numerical models used in hazard assessment. It also validates model outputs by comparing predicted inundation areas with observed deposits. And lastly, it also used to understand the typical flow paths and run-out distance of PDCs at Tungurahua. So to create a probabilistic hazard map, they utilized different methods. The research used two main modeling tools, the Easy Map Probe version 2 and the Box Map Probe version 2. The Easy Map Probe uses an energy cone model, and it's best for topographically controlled flows, while the BoxMap probe simulates both internal and gravitational PDCs. So to make the simulations realistic, they calibrated models in inundation area, field verified deposits, and control points. So they use data from actual PDC deposits observed in the field. For smaller eruption, they use known deposit outlines, and for larger events like the 1640 eruptions, they use controlled points where PDCs had been previously recorded. So this ensured that the simulation closely matched the real-world conditions. So here is the presented probabilistic hazard map from July 2006 up to February 2016. As you can see here in the map, it is the probabilistic hazard maps for the eruptive scenario ES1, a violent strombolian to Vulcanian eruption. So the color gradient represents probability levels. So as you can see here in all the maps, the warmer colors or the red indicate higher probabilities of inundation, while cooler colors like blue indicates lower probabilities. So these maps are generated using numerical models like, as I've mentioned, the Easy Map probe and the Box Map probe. So topography also is a factor, which includes digital elevation model or DEM. Also, the model parameters is a factor. For example, the energy cone height and friction coefficient was utilized. So the probabilistic nature of these maps reflects the inherent uncertainty in predicting volcanic events and pyroclastic density current behavior. So they produce probabilistic hazard maps for PDC inundations at Tungurahua volcano, considering different eruption scenarios from VEI 2, 3, and 4 to 5. So as you can see here in the map, they are all the same when it comes to certain areas which are elevated at risk. So the Baños here, the Cotalo here, and the Puela are identified as locations with moderate to high probabilities of PDC inundation. So this suggests that these towns are particularly vulnerable and require careful attention in hazard management plans. So topography also plays a critical role in PDC flow. Ravines such as the Vascun and Ulba, as you can see here in the figure, they act as a channel that can focus and direct PDC flows, potentially increasing the risk to areas downstream. For the inundation probabilities, this figure presents a quantitative analysis of inundation probabilities at specific locations around Tungurahua volcano. So as you can see in graph A, it shows inundation probabilities for eruptions ES1 using Boxplots. So Boxplots provides a statistical summary of the probability distribution at each location, showing the median or the middle value represented by the red lines, the interquartile range, the range between the 25th and 75th quartile percentiles, and whiskers representing the range of the data, and the outliers, which is the individual points that fall far from the rest of the data. And for the graph B, it shows the inundation probabilities for eruption scenarios ES2 and ES3. Yellow symbols indicates or it is associated with the easy map probe simulations, while the green and the blue indicates or falls from the box map uh, simulations. So individual data points present probabilities calculated using different model parameterizations and calibration methods. So this illustrates sensitivity of the results to modeling choices. Technically, inundation probability presents the likelihood expressed as a percentage or a value between 0 and 1 that a specific location will be affected by a PDC given a particular eruption scenario. So for its implication for risk management, the findings of direct implications for disaster preparedness under the volcanic explosivity index 3 conditions. For example, Baños has about 13% chance of inundation while towns like Kusua and Wave Grande face risk above 20%. So for VEI 4 to 5, the threat is even more severe. Baños, Cotalo, and Puela consistently fall within moderate to high pyroclastic density current probability zones. Also, ravines like Vascon and Ulba act as a channel for pyroclastic density currents flow. The result shows implications critical for evacuation route planning, emergency shelter siting, and developmental restrictions. For its strengths and limitation, the study has several strengths as it uses real field data, employs high-resolution terrain models, and quantifies uncertainty through rigorous calibration. However, it also has limitations. For one, it doesn't include eruption frequency models, so the long-term probability of each scenario isn't defined. Also, for VEI 4 to 5 eruptions, field data are sparse. It makes the model more less precise, and but still the framework used here can easily be updated as more data became available and offers a strong foundation for future work. And for the conclusion, the study highlights the importance of using probabilistic scenario-based hazard assessment to better understand and mitigate the risk posed by pyroclastic density currents at Tungurahua volcano. So by integrating calibrated numerical models with real eruption data, the research provides actionable insights that support more effective disaster preparedness and risk reduction for vulnerable communities. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions at the chat box.